You're listening to Your Worst Friend. Going deeper.
You're listening to Your Worst Friend, Going Deeper with Shane and Matt. This is season 4. I normally do a little intro, like real short around this, but I have to say, we did our first, let me do a quick 30-second backstory. Did our first interview in this space with Dan and Suzanne Ferrari of sluutinspection.com. I met them on Reddit. They were interested in talking about their lifestyle and stuff like that, and I thought it would be fun. That video and that podcast, got 6 times the amount of downloads as our normal show does, if not more than that. So I went, hey, maybe there's a lane here talking to people in the adult industry. Second interview we ever did was with Gage. Gage was a classic porn star. Shane and I are in our mid-30s here. So, she was right in our prime. And after I did that, I said, there's a certain Mount Rushmore I would love to hit. Okay. 3 of them are older performers, no longer in the industry, some of them, and 1 is a current modern day performer. And those performers were Gia Paloma, Gianna Michaels, who is still performing, Cammie Andrews, who left the industry a while ago, and our guest today. So if I sound a little shaky voiced or nervous or, freaked out, which you haven't heard me do in almost 200 episodes of doing this show, including one where we buried my father, essentially. That's why. Our guest today is the lovely. Now, this is what I should have confirmed beforehand. This is one of those things I should have confirmed. Do you go with the, and this is not me trying to brag like I did some sort of research beforehand, do you go with the single syllable last name, the multiple syllable last name, or the French version of the last name?
So I'm just like a big troll, and in each interview, I'll change the way I pronounce it because I'm not French. I'm not good at saying French things. And also it's not really something that I take super seriously.
Sure.
Most people call me Goth Charlotte nowadays anyway. If I would have known you could have had a stage name as silly as that, I would have picked it. But yeah, you could call me whatever you want. And yeah, I really don't mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, today our guest, Miss Goth Charlotte, Charlotte Sartre or Charlotte Sartre. You can find her on Twitter, Instagram, and OnlyFans. And let me tell you, she must be a social media genius because she has somehow squirted. Well, I mean, that is Freudian right there.
Not yet. We'll see.
Yeah. She has squirmed around all of the big tech censors out there who are trying to boot sex workers and porn stars and everything else because her name is consistent among all of Twitter, Instagram, and OnlyFans. Goth Charlotte. And if you want to pick up one of her t-shirts, do you have other merch on there as well or no?
I want to make ashtrays soon.
That's pretty cool.
And I've got hoodies right now.
Okay, cool. Gothcharlotte.store. You're going to head over there. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, Charlotte Sartre.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
This is really amazing because, like I said, you are the current modern day performer where I go, this girl just nails everything about my... I don't want to sound like a creep. I'm going to sound like a creep later on. But this girl just nails everything about my preferences. I go, love a girl who can't catch a tan if she tries. I love the dark hair. I love the style. Shane, what is
Thanks.
my bangs? Great. Shane, what's my fetish with clothing?
It's not latex. It's leather.
No, it's latex. It's not leather. So... you just you nail all this stuff. And then if you dig deeper and you go to any of your social media, you just seem cool too. I know I sound real.
Thank you.
Boy, in my email to her, I let her know, I'm like, look, I'm not just some simp that's just trying. And then the first 10 minutes are me just going, do you know how fucking great you are?
He really is.
Chris Farley in those old SNL clips. Do you like doing stuff? But
he's a simp and an uncle.
Let's jump into this. Can I ask you how you decided to get into the industry and what that first step was like for you?
Well, I always really liked porn, and I was really interested in exploring my sexuality and having a flexible job. I started webcamming, first of all, on my free cams, and then I was just kind of like emailing different sites. And I lived in the Bay Area at the time. So naturally, I was a huge kink.com fan. And I really liked BDSM in my personal life, but hadn't explored it much. I randomly got a Twitter DM from some dude who said, "Oh, hey, do you want to get into porn? Like, I know this agency you could get with." And it ended up being like a really shitty, like shady agency in Florida. I think like everybody involved with it has disappeared. So I don't recommend getting into porn that way. But they introduced me to the site Asylum with two S's. And I did my first scene for them. And then I dropped the agent and I asked the producer of the site, "Hey, do you know any other sites that could work with me?" So he got me an interview with kink.com. And I may have been like one of the only people who's had to interview for a job in porn. But they called me into the armory and I talked with Simone Sine, who was the head of the talent department at the time. I believe that was the job position. And we just talked about things I was interested in, things I'd like to try. And in short order, I was shooting a lot of scenes for kink.com. And then I'd meet performers on set who would introduce me to other like producers they like to work for. So it's just kind of been a slow like snowball of meeting people and networking. And I'm sure if I had like a good agent and stuck with it, I'd be like a lot more successful. But that's just my story and how it happened.
You know what's so interesting? Every time we talk to a girl, it seems like from the outside kind of ignorant perspective, it feels like, oh, you just got to be good at fucking and be pretty. And yet every time we talk to somebody, it sounds like you need to know how to dominate social media and you need to know how to network with people and be professional on set and meet new people and collaborate and this and that. So it's just so many people probably have the wrong impression of the industry, which is so interesting to me because I don't know. I you know, it's it gets such a bad rap, I guess, you know, because of dumb religious people or prude people or whatever it is, but they don't see all of the additional work that goes into it, it feels like. So yeah, there was no question there. That was just interesting to me.
So have you been agent free this whole time, your entire career, so to speak? You've been just self-managing, self-promoting everything?
Yes, with the exception of when I've worked in Europe. About half the time I was in Prague, I was getting shoots that Proxy Page, who was my agent out there, she had a working relationship, or she still has a working relationship with a lot of companies out there. So she was really helpful for that. But in America, I'm completely self-represented, self-booking, and I haven't been out to Europe in a few years anyway, so I don't really work out there anymore.
Proxy Page, one of my favorite performers of all time. Let me ask you now, do you have anything, and you don't have to go into detail, negative about shooting out there? Because our friend Avery Jane, beautiful African-American performer, loves going to Prague, and specifically Prague. Did you know, again, you don't have to go into detail. Did you have a bad experience, or have you just not been out there because of COVID, or have you just decided to stay stateside more?
Oh no, I always loved working in Prague, and it's so fun to be able to combine like a vacation and a work trip. And I've seen like so many beautiful things there. I met so many amazing people. I love the type of content out there. I've always been a big fan of European porn, so you have to go there to get the real deal. It's just tough, like being on a plane for like 12 hours, like my back is always killing me. And then I've mostly been focusing on directing lately and shooting my own content. And I'm hardly on set, like as a performer, as much as I used to be. I have a couple scenes next week, but I'll maybe do like 2 or 3 a month now, where I used to be doing like 2 or 3 a week. So I've just adapted and I'm changing.
Sure.
But and I'm also lazy.
I want Shane to take a guess at this because I read this somewhere and I want to see if Shane can get it. You'll have 3 guesses, Shane. Charlotte here went to college for something. And I want to know if you want to try and take a guess and figure out what that job is. And I'm going to segue that into a question about directing, if that's okay. Shane, what job, profession, career did Charlotte originally go to college for?
Veterinarian,
No,
dentist,
no,
philosophy.
no. Charlotte, what was that job that you went to school for?
I majored in accounting. I wanted to focus in taxation,
Ooh.
but I eventually decided that I like doing porn better
Sure.
than doing taxes.
So originally I was looking, through past interviews you had done and stuff like that, seeing if you had any kind of a media background. Now, it seems like you were going to school for something that could have been a real job, unlike me going to school for communications, where I learned how to use, a camera and direct TV and do radio, which, hey, maybe it'll turn into something someday. But
No.
did you just have a strictly on set desire to learn the behind the camera aspect? Did you have anyone who kind of mentored you towards that? And is that a reasonable jump? That I'm not asking you to understand the knowledge or the intellect of other performers, but do you think if a girl performs for long enough in this industry, she can pick up enough to become a director behind the scenes?
I think it really depends on what people are interested in. A lot of people just want to show up to work, get paid, and go home, and they just want to be told what to do and not have to think about that. And there's something really nice and attractive about that I also enjoy from time to time. Since most of us are shooting our own content, I would say like the majority of us are shooting our own content. We, in a sense, have to become our own directors and producers. And so that part transfers, really naturally to directing. The way I got the job at kink.com is this was during a time when nobody was directing at Kink except John Paul the Pope. It was like in the COVID era, and it had been like a long time discussion because at the time, nobody else was directing everything but. So, and that's like my favorite shit, like, no pun intended. But I thought, or JP thought I would be a good fit for it. So he got me a meeting with the CEO at the time, Allison. It's since changed a couple times since then, who the CEO is. But I had some interviews, again, like more porn interviews. And that's been almost 2 years now, and I really, really enjoy it. I love it so much. And I think a lot of women, like when they've been in porn for a while, it seems really natural to transition into directing. And I think like I'm seeing like Casey Calvert is absolutely amazing. Kenzie Taylor is also directing. My dear friend Lydia Black, I'm working for her next week. She's also directing for Kink now. And it's been really cool to see all these perverted women behind the lens. Not like I'm actually like filming. Like we have a great videographer who's much better than me, like shaking hands recording stuff. But it's my ideas at least.
Is there a shift in the style at all from going from a male director to a female director, or are all of you perverts able to take on that thing and kind of just run with it and go, I'll keep the same style? Because I've seen sites in the past that I've been a fan of, and not Kink, not that I'm not a fan of Kink. It's just, I'm not talking about that one in this instance, where all of a sudden, maybe they get bought out, maybe they change something, maybe they upgrade their cameras, maybe they upgrade their lighting, and it kind of loses its what made it what it was. So are you conscious of understanding the style as it was before and then adding your own flair to it? Or are you coming in almost clean slate and going, this is what Charlotte's going to do. Charlotte wants to do it this way?
So that's a really good question. And my approach has changed quite a bit. When I first started, I thought I would do something completely different, and I would shoot things that I wanted to see, that I felt like there wasn't as much of a market for or a niche for. But the members, you know, if they're subscribed to a site for a long time, they really like the way things used to be. And I studied a lot of the older scenes, like from different directors, because it's changed hands like so many times throughout the years, like Marty, Ariel X, and I don't know if I can say who the last director was. I don't know if it's public knowledge or if they're using a stage name. But this person was also super amazing. And now I'm planning some shoots that are callbacks to the very, very early Everything But stuff that the members like. And I've also tried some new things. Like I shot Natalie Mars in a scene with me, and she's the first trans performer to be on Everything But. Originally, the site used to be boy girl or boy girl girl anal, but the past several years it's been just cis women duos and trios. So now I'm hoping to shoot more trans women occasionally, and I'm hoping to sprinkle some guys in there as long as they don't get in the way. Okay. But still keeping the hardcore lesbian interactions being the main focus. Okay. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it totally makes sense to me. So like you said, you started with Asylum, which I have seen, hey, not my preference, only because it's intense. It's hardcore. But I grew up in the state, and we went to a girl who in high school shot for facialabuse.com. Not going to ask for an opinion if you don't want to give it on that one, but I've been exposed and seen some pretty hardcore stuff, you know, since we were at my high school graduation party showing everybody at my party that girl's video. Not in a shitty way. We weren't bullying her. She enjoyed it. Maybe.
We admired it.
Yeah, we respected it. But has that always been your personality, or was that a jump where have you been more of like an extreme type person in your life in that sense where, you know, that is not shocking in your own personality, or was this a total leaping from your comfort zone type thing, shooting some of those more extreme bondage type scenes or, you know, rough scenes? You know, I don't know what the correct nomenclature would be to refer to those things as. But yeah, is that a change from your personality when you were younger, maybe? Or is that kind of how you always been?
I think I've always been exploratory. My philosophy when I got into porn was I just wanted to stand out. So I tried to pick a name that nobody else had. And I tried to do scenes that nobody else seemed to want to do. Some things might not necessarily be my cup of tea or something I do in my personal life, but I'm willing to try almost anything. And I've been pleasantly surprised. Some things I thought I wouldn't like, I've turned out to love just from being adventurous and open-minded and experimental. Nowadays, I've found my niche and the things I really enjoy. But at the beginning, I think I also got pigeonholed because the first few scenes I did were so extreme. Companies just expected that from me, which is totally cool and stuff that I'm willing to do. And then, I shot for legal porno so many times. I've just like really fallen into the anal niche, which I enjoy. I haven't done like any gangbangs in the last few years. It's probably been, I think it's been like almost 3 years now. But I still love putting things in my butt. But there's some
doesn't?
things I've tried like only once, like piss waterboarding and like putting, what was it, egg beaters in my butt, I think. But also I'm just a silly person. So to me, it's like, it doesn't have to be hot for me. Like, I think of it more as I'm doing like circus acts. And to me, it's like hilarious. And like,
Sure.
It doesn't bother me and I'm not ashamed about it. And I'm happy to be getting paid for that and creating entertainment for people. I also like don't really take it too seriously.
Sure.
I hope that makes sense.
It does. The piss waterboarding, did you give up the location of ISIS when you did that or no? Or did you stay strong?
No, I stayed strong, I think.
Good. That's good.
It helps that I didn't know where it was in the first place.
12 guys in the back of a 94 Toyota truck somewhere going, God damn, I hope she does not crack on us. Okay.
Yeah, she was a Manchurian candidate. She doesn't think she knows where it is, but it's in there somewhere.
Just a little more piss and she would have broken.
Yep.
So to piggyback on top of that, would you have, looking back, I understand you do enjoy these scenes. Would you have worked your way into it a little easier, or no? Do you have regret? Not a negative, like terrible regret. Like obviously you don't regret shooting those scenes, but do you wish for your own career's sake that you had taken it a little slower from the beginning, or no?
I don't think so. I don't think I would have changed anything. Also, I was in a really unique and at times difficult position because I was independent, self-booking, and I had all these shitty tattoos and I had a mullet. And I'm like icy white and I don't have blonde hair. So I just like don't look like a lot of the girls, or at the time, there's more girls who look like me now, but at the time, so many companies are like, oh, I'd love to shoot you, but your tattoos are shitty, or maybe you should get a tan or like dye your hair. So I thought, well, like if these companies won't hire me, at least like the ones who do crazy shit will. And I've just kind of forced my way in that way. I think if I was getting in now, maybe I would have done the same stuff, but just for my own content. But content wasn't as king as it was, or as it is now. As I don't know how to say that.
I got it.
Back then,
Totally.
OnlyFans wasn't a thing. Like I didn't have one until 2017. I started shooting in 2015. So we had like webcam and we had ManyVids and shit like that, but it was a completely different ball game, and I was really like heavily relying on shoots to make a living.
Sure. So would that be your recommendation for girls nowadays? Every girl we've talked to, it seems like to me, again, from an ignorant outside perspective, I go, shit, I want to shoot as many scenes as possible. I want to get my name out there as much as possible. Not me, obviously, like if I looked attractive like a woman. But everything we've talked to was a lot of these girls go, OnlyFans is king, and I do these sites for exposure. I do these sites for names where I might make X amount of dollars for the shooting at Brazzers or somewhere else. The translation is 10x that over here on OnlyFans. Is that your recommendation to like anyone looking to try and get into the industry? Maybe. And I would also say OnlyFans too seems like you have a lot more control over your own, what you want to do, what type of thing you want to produce. You're not stuck in a position where you're shooting something you may not necessarily love right off the bat. Would that be your recommendation, to really kind of learn how to create your own thing and then branch out from there? Or is it the way you did it, kind of dive into mainstream sites and then maybe establish something down the line?
I think, the former, as you were saying, it's really smart to create your own content. You can make money off of it forever. And we don't have royalties or residuals in this industry. So the closest thing we have is the content we make. Like I'm still making money on shoots I did like 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And I still like being on set from time to time, shooting with my friends and companies I really like working for. And it's fun to get my name out there. It's great exposure. Like I recently shot for Reflective Desire, who I was like a huge fan of before. And I'm a huge latex enthusiast, and I'm been trying to like put myself more into that community. So that was great at putting me in front of the eyes of latex fans who may not be aware of me. But it's all about balance. You know, some people I know really love being on set all the time, and they don't really like running their OnlyFans, and they do it for the income, but they really love like the experience of being on set and being around people or meeting new people. Sure. Whereas like I'm really shy and withdrawn. I'm like a homebody. So like my ideal setup is what I did the other day. I had two of my friends come over. We like fisted each other's butts, and then another friend of mine filmed it, and I didn't have to go anywhere.
Piggybacking onto that real quick, you mentioned earlier you watched porn when you were younger, and so many girls we talked to have said, no, not really. I didn't really. Did you have favorite performers, or were you just a search terms type of girl?
I had favorite performers for sure. My favorite was and still is Rocco Siffredi. Okay. So when I met and worked with him, I cried in the middle of the scene because it was such a surreal experience.
Sure.
And he's such a cool dude. Like for as brutal as he is in the scenes, he's like a perfect gentleman. And it's something like I wasn't expecting, but a really cool and welcome surprise for sure. And I always loved like Sasha Grey, Annette Schwartz. I loved Jada Fire, like girls like that who were just nasty and seemed like they were having a lot of fun.
Sure. Shane, did you have any questions? I could just go on forever, Shane. So
continue. Yeah, I'm enjoying piggybacking off of you.
Okay. All right. Here's a ridiculous question, but after the release of it last year, did you get just like your email slammed with people going, hey, will you do a Wednesday Addams shoot? Will you do another Wednesday Addams shoot? After that Netflix series, was there, I know you've done things in the past, obviously, but I'm wondering if there was any kind of a Lisa Ann, Sarah Palin type renaissance when that show came out, or maybe it was too much of like a kid's show for, you know, is there something planned? Are you guys going to do your own series where it's like, you know, you shoot that and, you know, it's like the same thing except more fucking, obviously.
To be honest, I haven't seen the show. I've heard it's cool. It takes me so long to get through shows. Like I'm still watching Game of Thrones. I haven't finished it. So I'm really bad at watching TV.
Okay.
I got a lot of inquiries on my OnlyFans, mostly from people who were just wondering if I was a fan of the show. But I don't really get too many cosplay requests. I think because that's not something I do a lot. I just dress up as myself.
Sure.
And my fans are really interesting. Sometimes they seem more interested in talking with me about like swords and things like that than like actually like dirty talking, which is super cool. Like I'm happy for everything. But yeah, I think for the Gothic girls who do a lot of like cosplay and theme shoots, they probably got that question a lot. But I think the way my fan base is, it just didn't occur to a lot of them.
Gotcha.
Got a lot more sword questions, I guess.
Yeah.
When Wednesday came out.
What kind of sword would Wednesday use? What kind of dagger? Okay, fair enough. Who is your second best friend in the industry? Because I think I know your best friend. I think I frightened her at Exotica in New Jersey this year. I walked up with a business card, which is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. It's a little business card. It's got a QR, all the girls we've interviewed. And I went, hi, how you doing, Lydia? It's nice meeting you. I was just wondering if you would be interested in doing an interview sometime. And if I'm being honest with you, as much as I like Lydia's work, Lydia Black we're talking about here, my goal was like, fuck, if I can really impress this chick, maybe I can get to Charlotte and see if I could try and do it. So we just skipped that. But I would still love to interview her someday. Is she your best friend in the industry? Oh, you're gonna
Yeah,
break someone's
she's for
heart.
sure my
Okay.
best friend in the industry. I think my second closest friend, at least the person I spent the most time with, would probably be John Paul the Pope because we're on set together all the time.
Sure.
So he's like, I forgot to mention this in the previous question because I gave such a long-winded response and I got sidetracked when you were asking about directing. But he just he's showed me how he does it and he handles the bondage because I don't trust myself to tie anybody up.
Okay.
So when I need that for a scene, he's in charge of that. But yeah, I see him like all the time.
Sure.
And we have the same personal trainer. So I see him, or I saw his wife today at the gym actually, like right before this.
That's fine.
But he's amazing. Love JP.
I need to make a point. So I'm at work, and this is how ridiculous it is. I worked for a pharmaceutical company, and I'm talking to this girl from my job. This is probably 8 years ago. And for some reason, I'm pulling up, maybe not 8 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I'm pulling up your Instagram, and I'm going, oh my God, look how gorgeous this girl is. Look how hot this girl is, blah, blah, blah. She's my favorite performer, da, 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 da. And God bless you, Megan, for putting up with me at work. Still a very close friend of mine. But it's so funny because she pointed out why I was such a fan of yours. So I would just like to, I'm going to change my background. Can you see my background okay? I don't need anyone else seeing it, and we're just recording you. So I'm going to change my background. So I'm going to make a case to you. And you'll see once it happens. Here's a picture of your tattoo. I don't know if it's on the right or left for you. Here's a picture of my wife's tattoo. Okay.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Okay. Here's a picture of Jonesy, I believe.
Yes.
And a picture
like
of
an aliens.
And a picture. Yeah, her other cat's name is Ripley. I'm not a creep. I just know that.
Yeah, that was Ripley who walked by just now.
This is a picture of Jonesy, and this is a picture of. She's got like a million names, but that's our cat over there. Okay. So I'm going to show you the picture of my wife next. This is what Megan at work pointed out to me. She goes, oh, you like this girl? Yeah. You like this girl because of her fucking cat. That's why. I definitely find her so attractive because of this. So I point this out. I go, this is my wife.
Oh, she's beautiful.
And this is Charlotte. And this is my wife. And this is Charlotte. And
there's a resemblance.
Megan points out to me, she goes, I mean, she looks like Jen. Like, that's why you like her. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's like you get to see somebody fucking your girl because you've never done it. So you're like, now you get to experience that like vicariously through Charlotte, because your girl, like whenever she fucks, you're not around. You don't even know what that's like. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Oh, man. Yeah.
See, that's why we can do a show, because you get me. You understand what it was. So, Charlotte, I would like to put it out there. If anything tragic were to ever happen to my wife, I will accept you as my new love because you have fit all the prerequisites that have been laid out. Thank you. I appreciate that. I ran that by my wife last night. I was a little nervous about that bit. I was like, so I'm going to point out that if you ever die in some sort of plane accident, and Jen looks at me, she goes, you got to make it so specific. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I won't. But
how sweet was your coffee this morning?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm manic right now. I was up till 3 reading about Jean-Paul Sartre. Why?
I'm just wondering, like, if she started dosing it with antifreeze yet.
Oh, Jen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little sleepy, as hyper as I am. So I wanted to, well, Shane, let's go with your question because this girl's a fan and Shane has a question he likes to ask all of our performers. The answer is obviously yes, but I think, Shane, if you could give her like a how much is she into this, that would be appreciated.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I guess like on a scale of like 1 to 10, where would you put piss or where would you rank it?
I think 10, like literally.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, I was spitting Vanessa Vega's piss into Lydia Black's gaping butthole.
Those are my favorite ones.
Yeah. We're having a great time. I love pee.
I like, when they fill the butthole up with the pee and then they roll over and all the piss falls out onto someone's face.
We tried to do that, but I think Lydia's butt is just too greedy, so it was like absorbing the pee.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe you had some nutrients left over, and she was absorbing them with her uh, digestive system. Because that's what your lower intestine does.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. Shane was a biology major.
No, I wasn't.
But only this type of biology, which is why you got kicked out of
butthole
school.
biology.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I want to delve into it real quick, and this is going to be a drastic shift. That's why I saved this towards the end, because some people might be like, oh, but she's not talking about piss and buttholes and stuff anymore. Sartre, why is Sartre your favorite philosopher of all time?
He's actually not my favorite philosopher.
Whoa. So are you announcing a name change to Charlotte Nietzsche?
Charlotte Camus.
No, that would be dope too. But I still have got nausea tattooed on my torso.
In French or English?
In English. I just thought it was fitting, and my first name is really Charlotte, so I thought I should pick a French last name to go with it. But I'm gotta say, I'm really into like Russian literature. Like, it's just so much more bleak. I do love the French for sure. I love Camus and Proust and all those dudes. But like, there's something like really appealing about like Turgenev and Dostoevsky for sure.
Yeah, I see going with a French last name with Charlotte, but I wonder why not a farm animal name?
Webb would have been cool.
Charlotte Webb.
I'm sure it's taken already. I was checking INFD. I went through, possible surnames, and I was checking. I didn't want anything that had been taken, even like somebody with a different first name but the same last name. I wanted something completely unique.
Well, yeah, Sartre is very unique. It's no one else I could ever think of would have that in porn. So it's definitely a way to stand out.
So, oh man,
I wonder if that's going to be a new trend with like stage names in the future, where each one is going to pick a philosopher. Like, we're going to see Dostoevsky, Nietzsche, Kierkegaard, like Kant, and like it's going to be, that you're going to start like this new thing.
No, it's going to be Kardashian, Bieber, fucking Reynolds, all of that stuff. Lizzo.
Are they gonna make the porn smart?
We would all enjoy that. Yes. And all of these girls are very smart in their own way, but I can just see a manager going like, oh, dude, they're not going to understand Nietzsche. Don't go with that. Go with Bieber. And the girl's just going to be like, yeah, all right, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, that goes better with butthole.
So I was up till about 3-4 in the morning last night watching videos and trying not to lose track with my ADD mind 10 seconds into learning about Sartre. So I'm just going to then get this out there, even though it's not your favorite philosopher of all time. The one thing I really found interesting was about the meaninglessness of the universe, right? And for people that don't know, the point of it was so much that the universe is out of order. So spending your time, and you guys can both correct me if I'm wrong. You guys took philosophy classes and I took a German expressionism film. So that's the difference between us. The universe is meaningless because it is inherently out of order, and trying to find order within a meaningless universe is senseless. Is that correct? Is that the idea behind that?
Sounds like a stupid task to me. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so my question is, what if the purpose of it is the search itself? There are so few people who have time to contemplate regrets in their lives and such as they die. Now, everyone that's died in my life has been pretty sudden and instant, which is terrible, but also some would argue better than watching someone die in a hospital bed. But I also assume at the end of a person in a hospital bed's life, they're sitting there and maybe they have dementia, they're losing it, or they're in so much pain that they don't have to sit back and go like, boy, I regret searching for the meaning of the universe. What if it's the the hope or the thrill of finding order that is the purpose behind searching for order.
It's kind of Camus-y.
A lot of people agree with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's kind of Camus-y, man. That's like the whole thing with Sisyphus pushing the stone up the hill and then down the hill, and then he's laughing. It's like it doesn't have to be the search, as you put it, but you make your own meaning. Like there's nothing woven into the fabric of the cosmos that is meaning. But if you're not going to find meaning in life, the only other option is to just kill yourself. Because, like, what the fuck is the point of being alive?
Okay. Well, then I wish I didn't just watch an hour and 20 minutes of those videos last night. Could have just had you two tell me about it.
Yeah. We would have just told you. You should have just asked us.
See, these are my favorite interviews. Sometimes we'll get from the various PR people we work with, we get asked to do an interview for this. And it's a lot of fun talking to girls. And it's a lot of fun the whole time going like, so do you like cum? Is it cool? Going into that. But I like
weird. Is it kind of gross?
My favorite thing about this is just kind of talking to a performer on a human level, because that's always been my idea behind this. If I were talking to the top NASCAR guy in the world, whoever the fuck that is, I would sit around and I would do my research to figure out what makes this the top person in the world, what drives them, what gives them the abilities to make this the top person. If I was talking to the top animator, I would do that as well. And what I appreciate this is so many people who are at the top of their craft, in this case it's porn, give us their time and their ability to sit here and talk to us as human beings. And I think that actually, for the people that watch this and listen to this, I think it's beneficial because I think it helps create, and you tell me if this is bad or wrong, Charlotte. I hope what this series does is it creates somewhat of a separation where people understand, like, there's a performer and there is a person behind this. And so many times I see on social media where it gets a little blended, and I get a little nervous for women. Just, it's so easy to find information nowadays. Do you have, this is going to be one of my last questions here. Do you have people that you've had to like almost let them know you're going a little too far? Obviously don't name them or their usernames, but like, do you get people in your comments where you're like, ah, shit, I think this guy's literally in love with me and thinks the performer is me? Or has everyone been pretty cool with you?
I mean, most people are cool. There are, if you're on the internet in any capacity, there are going to be people who form parasocial relationships with you. And I've dealt with that quite a bit. And that's one reason I'm way less open online than I used to be. Like, I don't talk about my personal relationships. I don't really talk about where I live. I don't like talk about or post about like the hobbies that I have. I don't post like my pets so much. Like, I've got a lot more animals than just the 2 cats, but those guys are pretty safe. But yeah, I think you're already so naked, like on a spiritual level, when you're putting yourself out there online, not just doing porn, but anything. So it's important for me to leave some things for myself and have things I enjoy that are not for anybody else to see, or something that I enjoy, but then I turn it into something I make money from. So it becomes like more of a job than a hobby. So it's really important to find a balance. And in this age of social media, being a performer, you've never been so accessible to anybody. Like, it used to be people couldn't meet a performer unless they came to AVN or something, or they might be able to send them fan mail, I guess. But now it's like anybody at any time can send you a message or tweet at you. So it's important to withdraw and have some separation, at least for my mental sanity.
So, folks, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you enjoy Charlotte's content, don't fucking show up at her house. That's creepy and weird. Okay.
Don't at her.
That's happened a few times.
Yeah, that's not good. By the way, you don't mention your other pets. if you want, I'll cut out the names of your cats. I only found them on
Oh,
Instagram.
no worries.
Oh,
No,
that's
but
cool.
the
Okay.
boys I'm always happy to talk about, but I have like a lot of other crawlies
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Anyone who would come in to steal them, you're walking into like disaster. I'm terrified of everything else you have in your house aside from you and the cats. But so leave her alone if you see her and just enjoy her content, please. Shane said don't at her. Do at her and let her know, hey, I really enjoy your content. I just purchased this. Don't at her and go, please be my wife. That's my job. I will do that. Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, we were speaking to Charlotte Sartre today. You can find her on Twitter, Instagram, and OnlyFans at Goth Charlotte. The store where you can purchase merch and sweatshirts and T-shirts and everything else is going to be gothcharlotte.store and website down the line, right?
Yes, I'm working on it. It'll be gothcharlotte.com. Right now, it's just a link tree that redirects to other sites I'm on, but eventually, if you keep checking it, maybe in a few months, it'll have stuff on there.
So load up your PayPal or whoever is accepting sex worker dollars nowadays, whoever's not being judged by big banks somewhere, and head over to gothcharlotte.com, see your link tree and go like, what can I purchase today? Do you have a ManyVids account?
Yes, I do.
There you go. Go buy stuff there. Sign up for her OnlyFans here. Do this and that. Buy a T-shirt, buy a sweatshirt, give it to your wife. She'll be like, who the fuck is this? And then you go, this is this chick I heard online. She's great. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was Charlotte Sartre. Thank you very much for your time today, Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Your Worst Friend. Going deeper.